call the meeting to order. It is Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, Shelby County Board of Supervisors. Any conflicts, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we will consider to approve the agenda.
Motion approved.
And Michael second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Approve the minutes from October 7th. Any issues?
Changes.
No changes.
They look good to me. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion to approve the claims. I looked them over. I did not see anything out of the ordinary.
Motion approved.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Kylie Lang from Summit Carbon Solutions, give an update. Come on up.
Getting the hot seat right here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Morning.
All right. Looks like we've got it up there, but I did give you guys just printed off copies just in case. Should
Thank
be
you.
Virtually the same. Alright, so it's been a little bit since I've been here, so just wanted to give kind of a general update. I gave you guys a lot of documents. We're just going to go through the presentation. The rest I'm just going to reference. You guys can look at later if you're interested. We'll go through the PowerPoint. So for anyone, I'm Kylie Lang. I've been here before. I am the Iowa project manager with Summit. I've been on the team about 4 years. So I'm pretty familiar with the project at this point. I want to hit on some changes that we've had. So one of the biggest ones is earlier this summer we had a management change. So our executive leadership team has transitioned to our new CEO. His name is Joe Griffin. He brought his team along. He's been in the pipeline industry about 40 years, spent a lot of time working up in North Dakota, as well as on several other states, quite a few other states, quite a few different building pipelines, operating pipelines, building infrastructure in relation to pipelines, pump stations, gathering facilities, things like that. So he brings quite a bit of experience, as does the rest of his team. On the operations side, the new executive vice president of pipeline and operations, his name is Mike. Who's taking over. He has also spent his entire career in the pipeline industry, also quite a bit of time up in North Dakota. He's spent most of his career with Joe, our new CEO, so they're pretty experienced working together. And then there's several other team members that came with Joe. So this summer we kind of took some time, and Joe had us rebuild our mission, vision, and values, and what we wanted the company to look like going forward. So I gave you guys, I'm not going to go through them, but I gave you guys the mission, vision, and values. Joe does have a lot of interest in meeting people, talking to supervisors, talking to landowners, talking to anyone willing to give him some opinions on, make sure he understands the project fully. So in, well, I guess only 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, it's on the second to last page. I've just got open houses. For you guys, I think the closest one is probably going to be in Denison, which is November 10th. So it's just in the evening in Denison to come and meet Joe, as well as several of his team members. If you really want to, you can come and talk to me. I'll be there. But he really wants to hear from people and get a feel of how things are going in Iowa. But as we built the mission, vision, and values, what we built from that is our landowner and community partnership program, which is what I'm here to talk to you guys about. Sorry, I'm jumping all over this. I'm making it really hard on you. So there's a lot in it. It was emailed to you guys. Obviously, you guys didn't know who Joe Griffin was, so you might have missed the email or thought it was spam. I understand that. So I gave you guys a full printed out copy, a one-page summary, but also I want to hit on what I think you guys will find the most interesting in it. But it's important to know, there's a lot more to it. There's our union partnership is discussed in it. Tribal outreach is discussed in it. Our water utilization is discussed in it. But a couple topics I really want to hit on. First one is related to easements. So previously, all we offered was an upfront payment for our easements. Upfront actually means in 3 different sections, but considered upfront. Now we're offering a second option, which is spreading your payment out over 10 years. Most people have asked for this because of taxes. It's the major reason. So you could spread it out over 3 years, 8 years, 6 years, up to 10 years, which is just something we've had interest in. And then a third option we hear pretty often, right? We as an affected landowner get a one-time payment, and the pipeline continues to make money for the duration that it's operated. So we have now an option that you can take your payment that you would have received from the pipeline or for the easement and invest it back into Summit Carbon Solutions in a very similar manner than our original investors did back several years ago. So you would be paid out at the same percentage or same type as the original private equity investors. So your payments are based on the success of the project. So now there's just those 3 options. The upfront's still there, but you can spread it out or you can invest it back in the company. Tried to take that just from things we've heard from people and what we thought people might be interested in. So on top of that, completely separate and above that is we now have an annual payment to the landowners. So it's built, it initially starts at 25 cents per foot of pipe on your property. Will be paid annually for the operational life of the pipeline. And we wanted to build it on really becoming partners with the landowners. So as Summit is successful, as we reach more voluntary easements, that number increases. So it increases as we hit 80%, 90%, and then if we, the goal of 100% would be 50 cents per foot for the annually for the operational life of the pipeline. We are putting that into the easement, so we're writing it into the language of the easement, just for a little bit more surety for the landowners. And then for the county, we're doing something very similar. It starts at 12.5 cents per foot annually to the county, above and beyond the taxes that we're required to pay. And a little bit different from the landowners, where that's Iowa-wide when we hit 80%, 90%, 100%. And for the county, it's going to be specific to Shelby County. Since I figure that's all you guys care about. So it goes from 12.5 cents, ranging all the way up to 25 cents per foot in the county. A couple other ones are, going forward, we will have a one-time payment for all survey. So a $500 payment to the landowner for a survey on the property. Although we already did this, we have to follow statutory requirements, so that's first and foremost, but we're also committing to at least a 72-hour notice for survey. Some people are going to very commonly want something different than that. Tell us the week before, tell us 24 hours before. But we had to set a standard, and we set it at 72 hours before.
Does the new management team that came in, do they feel that it's strictly the dollars and cents for those who are not signing agreements? Because I don't think that's
No,
the
no,
case.
I don't think so.
That seems to be the
That's
major changes is the payout.
that's kind of why I
don't
said
think
there's
that's really the case.
there's a lot more in the document. I think these are the big changes that a lot of people are caring about. But I would say, there's the agricultural commitments in the document. There's commitments to emergency management. That's actually going to be the next talking point. There's the water reduction and, intelligent use commitments. So there's more to it. These are the biggest points. These are seeming to be what the landowners we're talking to are caring about. But the document has quite a bit in it to make our commitments to, using best practices, our commitments to restoring the land. It's all in the document as well. So the other one is emergency responders. We had previously given a grant. That grant stays in place. It's $50,000 plus $1,000 per mile of pipe on the property or in the county. That is our pre-operations grant, so that comes during construction. And then following that, we'll have some type of annual grant program to work with the counties on where need is. But it's worth noting that this is above and beyond any requirements we have to equip and train first responders. So this grant isn't necessarily to be used specific to CO2, because we're required to provide the equipment training for that separate from the grant. And then, reaffirming our commitments to those trainings and equipping the landowners is also in that document. Equipping the first responders is also in that document. Those were the main hits I want to talk about. It's not in the presentation, but the water conversation, it's in the benefits agreement, briefly discussed. But what the new team did bring on a couple new technical specialists, and they're looking, we told them there's a big concern on water use, how to, be responsible in the water use, if that's heavier recycle capabilities. But what they're really looking at, which I find the most interesting, is we use the water for cooling at the ethanol plants. What can we do when it's winter? What can we do at nighttime to find a way to not have to use water? So we're looking at things like air cooling and other options to reduce the total water footprint. So it's still a work in progress. You got to make sure the technology's there and it works and it's reliable. But we're taking a lot of time looking into options to reduce the water footprint and reuse any water that we can through the process. Luckily, we can lean on the ethanol plants who've been using water in a similar manner for a long time to help us find better processes. So another update we've had since the last time I was here, probably over a month ago now, we submitted an amendment to our what we call Permit 1.0, which would be this county's permit. We have a 2.0, which is expansion, and it doesn't change much here. Doesn't change anything about how the pipeline traverses here. But the main changes are we added in Denison the Anderson's plant. The reason it doesn't have a separate permit like all the other ones do is we already crossed the Anderson's property, so it's no additional pipeline. It's just an additional plant to the system. So that was a big add that we were happy to do. There were a couple minor changes. Railroads just universally changed their pipeline best practices, and we wanted to make sure we were following their updated regulations, so that just required a couple changes across the system. We also we tried to utilize it in other places as just an additional best practice.
Is that the amendment to the IUC?
Yes, yep. And then the biggest piece, the second biggest piece behind the Andersons is we upsized the pipeline going into Nebraska. So it doesn't affect Shelby County, but the pipeline going into Nebraska, which allows us the option, some optionality on potentially we've been looking at going to the DJ Basin, which is out west, to take CO2, or some or all of the CO2, which is a similar sequestration location that we have up in North Dakota, which is a large footprint that spans western Nebraska, Wyoming,
It's okay.
Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, so it kind of sits in a spot that spans several states. where that has what's looking like really favorable geology.
And how does Summit see that as simply an amendment to the original permit? Because it's a completely different area. You know, you mentioned that Denison was already along the pipeline
Yeah.
that was permitted. This is not. How is that
Well, this
square with?
there was no route change, which is the big thing that the IUC is reviewing, is the route. Right, the route already existed in Nebraska. It's just a pipe size change of that route. And then flow direction, which is not an uncommon change in the pipeline industry. But when you talk about, I guess, are you referencing an amendment versus applying for a new permit?
Yes.
There's, to me, a lot of negatives on a new permit. An amendment still opens up a new hearing, allows the opinions, but what it does is it keeps all the historical knowledge, right? Of every comment that's been submitted to the IUC, all of the expert testimony, it still exists in the file. If we were to close that file and open a new one, the IUC would have to completely, best of their ability, forget everything that had taken place and start fresh. Every expert would have to retestify. And when the system is pretty much the same, the idea is pretty much the same, the footprint in Iowa is the same.
So will landowners in Nebraska, Colorado, Wyoming have the opportunity to go through, or does this, because there have to be permits there?
Yeah, so the
through their
IUC,
commissions?
yeah, the IUC only permits Iowa.
Okay.
And Nebraska actually, they don't have a state permitting process, so it's a little bit different. The other states do. They still have permitting, it's just different than Iowa.
Okay. So you'll have to go through that whole process of landowner comments and.
Yeah, however,
Just
each
like-
state does it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, IUC only looks at
Separate
Iowa.
permits then?
Yeah. So I left you guys with the full documents to look at if you're interested, and then if you guys have any ability, come out and meet the new executive management team. If you can't, he's more than happy to sit down and talk to you guys separately.
I'll be up there in Denison. Couple of things. Of course, the big thing for us, the big picture, is the use of eminent domain and the county control for setbacks and ordinances. Did any of that change with the new management? They're still seeking eminent domain?
I don't think it's off the table, but they're taking landowner input and commitment to landowners very seriously. I think that's why the community benefits agreement came out.
So I did see in this new information that was given, it remained dedicated to voluntary engagement. There's one statement in there, which flies in the face of eminent domain. And then a couple pages later, it says, through partnership with landowners, which to me, a partnership doesn't mean we're gonna use your land and you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
That's not a partnership. So there's a few places in here where that's kind of flies in the face of eminent domain.
Yeah.
So that's why I question whether we can trust what this says at all, or if they're just gonna continue on as they have been.
I urge you to come talk to them. To me, I feel like their sentiment is very different. Not that, no way am I slamming what we used to have. It just, we hit some roadblocks on this project, and bringing in fresh eyes to it, I think, has been a good thing.
Charlie, you got any questions or?
Nope.
I guess what we were hoping for was that there would be some change in those two big pieces that we're most concerned about. We don't really care about the 25 cents per foot and all those things as much as the bigger pictures. And,
Yeah.
So that's what I was kind of hoping to hear today, was some changes in the big picture. But Bryce, you got any questions or comments?
No, I kind of echo your thoughts. Eminent domain is a big thing on everybody's mind, and that's what we want a clear picture on.
I think we have it.
Okay, anything further, Kylie?
Bryce, do you want to open it up to comments from the public, or do you want to just save that for another time?
Yeah, we can open it up. Just everybody, if they would just keep it to a couple minutes, that'd be great.
Okay. If anybody has comments or questions, if you would state your name and speak loud so Bryce can hear.
I'm Sherry Webb. We have a Century Farm in Shelby County. I would like to know, because of the fact that President Trump signed an agreement for millions of gallons of ethanol to go to Europe, and then California approved their legislation for ethanol, there's no low carbon intensity mentioned in either one of them. So why do we need this? Because that was the original intent, was we're going to lower the carbon intensity so we can sell to California and open up the market. Well, the market's open. We don't need low carbon intensity scores anymore. So why do we need this at all? And don't tell me it's green, because it's not green. You're going to use it for oil and EOR.
Yeah, I think the ethanol plants, you know, at the end of the day, we transport CO2 for them. They feel, I think the industry agrees, we are moving towards low carbon options. But beyond that, regulation is still in place for the requirements of low carbon fuels, which this will untap the market for them that they cannot tap into today. But beyond that, they're looking more than at the low carbon market. Yes, that's a huge piece of this project, and it's still a very important piece of this project. But they are looking at, when you hit that low carbon, that carbon intensity score below the threshold, you now qualify for several e-fuel markets, the biggest one being sustainable aviation fuel. So sustainable aviation fuel is ethanol for airplanes. They can use ethanol as the feedstock to create sustainable aviation fuel, which has a 50% blend into jet fuel versus the 10-15% blend we get into gasoline. So it untaps a massive market that the ethanol plants could then utilize to build new plants, increase their plant sizes, and expand and buy more corn in the Midwest. You know, sustainable aviation fuel is going to happen. It's going to happen. Delta wants it. American Airlines wants it. United wants it. They all want it. It's just, is it going to happen in the Midwest? Can we be the feedstock for that option, or are we going to let other areas, or we're going to let China with their cooking oils create sustainable aviation fuel, or are we going to let Brazil create sustainable aviation fuel? And our ethanol plants, they want to tap into that market. They want to buy more corn. And that's the reason, and remains the reason behind this project, is having that low carbon intensity score opens the door for more opportunities.
Which the farmer can do by rotating crops, cover crops, and no-till.
I think the ethanol plant wants this. Our project doesn't get them to net zero. It doesn't get them to the lowest capable. I think they want to continue to work with landowners. It's not moving the needle in large amounts, but it does move the needle. So they continue to that. I think a lot of the ethanol plants, I can't speak for all of them, want to work with their landowners and have a premium if they can get lower carbon corn. But in terms of large jumps to fall below that carbon intensity line, they have to do bigger projects. They have to capture the carbon.
I disagree.
Hi. Mary Powell, Shelby County landowner. I have some questions. You talked about the new management experience with pipelines. What is their experience with carbon dioxide pipelines at 2,000 psi?
My understanding, and I have not spoke to every one of them, they have not worked on CO2. They have worked on quite a few high pressure pipelines.
Okay, but no experience with carbon dioxide pipelines, what that does to the environment, what that does to the land. No experience with that. Is that correct?
They have not specifically worked on CO2 lines.
Okay. You sent out to landowners, or Summit did, with introducing these new members, and you identified these 7 great commitments that you had. What was lacking in that was any commitment to safety. You have the commitment in there about helping first responders, but that's after an incident. And so I think it's very interesting when Summit says that they are going to do things better and they're going to be so protective, but one of the commitments isn't even a commitment to safety. I think that speaks volumes about the changes that you're proposing and how they're really not changing anything at all. There is still no commitment to the landowners, no commitment to protecting the land. You haven't provided any information on how many gallons of water are you going to be using from the water sources that we, as Iowans, need to drink and survive. In Shelby County alone, just this year, we had water conservation. We had to actually boil our water for over a month, and yet you want to come in and take more water, but you're not telling us how much you're going to take. You're not also telling us what you're going to do to prevent that under storage of carbon dioxide from contaminating our water aquifer and turning the water that we drink into arsenic.
All right, there's, I think a couple things there. We rolled out the community benefits agreement at the same time we rolled out our new mission, vision, and values, which is where we put our emphasis on safety. So
There's
we
no
did.
commitment in what you sent to the landowners related to safety. One of your 7 commitments, it does not identify safety as one of your major 7 commitments. It is not in there.
I'll speak with them. It is in the full document, and again, it is in our mission, vision, and values, which we built at the same time. I'll definitely reference.
But you're saying transparency to landowners, and you're not transparent to landowners. You're not transparent about water use. You're not transparent about safety. It's all pushing to get the pipeline into the land in Iowa for the benefit of Summit and all of its investors at the expense of Iowa landowners. I think it was a key point saying that you're still looking at eminent domain against landowners. If you want your pipeline in Iowa, then don't use eminent domain. You can still take your pipeline through South Dakota, you just can't use eminent domain. But it's very obvious that that's what you want to use, so you're not transparent with landowners. You are not supporting landowners. You are not trying to do a partnership with landowners. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Alex?
Hi, Alex Londo. I'm the Emergency Management Coordinator for Shelby County. Just a couple questions. So the first one, you'd mentioned training of first responders and that kind of stuff. I know when we'd spoken previously with the old team, they were going to do that after, once the pipeline was under construction. My question is, how are you planning on training these first responders, and is it only going to be the first responders whose jurisdiction lies along the pipeline? Because from Shelby County stamped and everywhere in the state of Iowa and the nation, volunteerism is down. So you might be in Westphalia's jurisdiction, but we have to bring in 4 other departments to help on an incident. And if they haven't received the training, how are they going to respond appropriately?
Yep. So our new representative for emergency management, his name is Jeremy Spilvieri-ish. Is his last name. So it's same. The training will take place during construction with the idea of you want it fresh in the mind. But no, any shared resources will be trained. So we'll work with you to say who could potentially be a shared resource in here. We'll make sure they're on that training list.
Okay. And then as far as emergency operations plans, are they going to be, are you going to take input from local jurisdictions as far as what your emergency operations plans are, and potentially even at district levels if you cross multiple districts and counties?
Yep, so it'll be built per county.
Okay.
So we'll sit down with the people in that county and build it out.
Okay.
So it'll be unique to each county.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy Hansen, Shelby County Central Coordinator. So what is your plan for training landowners on safety?
Yeah, so we will have the exact terminology, I'm not sure, it's a public relations program. And that's actually regulated by DOT 195, which is the regulatory body we follow. There will be different programs. We'll do things as simple as sending flyers to everyone's home. and then bigger events where we discuss the pipeline. We make sure you understand who to call if you ever need anything. Landowners will also have an assigned land agent, similar to the land agents that currently are going out with acquisition. There's land agents that remain on the project and are just the liaison between the pipeline company and the landowner. And then we'll do various trainings, in the area that you can come to. We'll also have, we'll work with the first responders or emergency manager to develop some type of an alert system. If that's a reverse 911 or what that means specific to each county, it'll be developed to work in each county. So there'll be ongoing annual opportunities to work with landowners to understand the pipeline.
And is it my understanding from talking with other landowners where you guys have presented at Board of Supervisors that you are recommending shelter in place?
I believe the recommendation from the most recent API research is shelter in place. I have not spoken specifically with our new emergency manager representative.
So PHMSA's recommendations was not shelter in place. And as a critical care nurse, I will tell you that shelter in place is not the thing to do unless you have a 10-story building that you can get to the top to. I mean, I don't know how many of these landowners here have a house that's airtight. I mean, we all have dryer vents. We all have furnace vents. We all have other venting for exhaust fans. Our windows aren't tight. We have sump pumps. We have lots of ways. CO2 is not just going to sit there and knock on your door and say, "Can I come in?" It's going to come into your house. If you shelter in place, if the people in Satarsha, Mississippi had sheltered in place, if their EMS had not come and rescued them, there would have been a lot of dead people. Because even hours later, according to Jack Willingham, the EMS director for their county, when they went in and checked CO2 levels, those levels were still toxic. They were still above what anybody could survive in. You cannot shelter in place. And I don't care who's telling you this, who your people are that are recommending this, but they're wrong, and they're gonna have people dead if they recommend that, and people follow those instructions.
When they do, API is the American Petroleum Institute. They do a lot of the research for the pipeline industry, federally funded research for the pipeline industry. They make sure that they use, in situations, trailers. They do test options with windows down, windows up, but they use trailers because they're not airtight in various options. So I'm happy to point you to the research if you're interested.
I'll read it, but they're wrong.
Steve Gangle, Kylie, I got a couple questions just to get clarification on.
Yeah.
Okay, you have that incentive out there for counties for the amount of feet pipeline going through. We have about 25 miles going through a county. Okay, why would Summit now want to penalize us? Because you guys do the negotiations on the easements. So it's going to be based off of voluntary easements or eminent domain. Either way, you're going to be coming through our county. We don't do any of the negotiations, you do, so why are you penalizing us? Because a landowner is either protecting their rights, they don't believe in the project, they maybe don't believe in working with you guys, and yet you're penalizing the county. Why ain't all counties treated the same?
I guess we never, all the discussions we had saw it as a penalty. We put a bottom threshold in, right? There's an additional payment no matter what. But we really wanted to make the project more of a partnership, sharing in successes.
But this is going the opposite way. It's not creating partnerships because you're causing division. Because do you want us to be part of the negotiation? Because that's what it looks like. It's like an incentive for us to be engaged, telling landowners either you need to sign or not sign. That's not our job. That's your job.
No, I guess the answer to that is there's no expectation with this. This is above and beyond the requirements that we had to follow. We wanted to get, involvement in, when with a true partnership, right? We heard so often we get a one-time payment and then it's over. We said, how can we become more engaged and partner more with the communities? With the landowners, we just made it statewide. With the counties, we thought having it specific to the county.
I know
Just
you're
was-
penalizing us because you guys can't negotiate with the landowners.
I guess I'm not seeing it as necessarily a penalty because we're not cutting the taxes required. This is above and beyond all.
You're cutting what you're paying us per foot. You're still going through our county 25 miles, so much, 25 cents a foot, and you're gonna give us less because landowners are respecting their rights. Or they don't like the project. There's whatever reason. But it's not a partnership because you don't want us involved. We should be involved. But yet, because somebody said no, we're gonna get less. That's really what it boils down to. I think you need to take that back to your management and let them know that you're creating a division here and not a partnership.
I can let them know that, and I just want you to know when we built this, when we sat down and used our mission, vision, and values to build this, that was never the intent.
No, but that's the way it's coming across. Okay. The second thing is, you stayed in there on eminent domain, it's last resort. So if that's last resort, what are you doing differently than you did before? You actively out there seeking easements as we speak today?
Yes.
Okay, so have you guys been notified
Nope.
since the new team come on?
We
Okay,
went back out, so we went internal when we brought the new team on. Spent a couple months rebuilding. We went back out just a couple weeks ago, so it is a new, I would say, maybe a month, 3 to 4 weeks ago. We hit the ground, went back out. So if you haven't been contacted yet, it's a large project.
right. And you also have landowners that I don't care how much money you want to pour at them. They do not believe in the project or for whatever reason, and they're protecting their property rights, which they have that right to. They have a right to say no as much as somebody has to join. That's their own business. What are you doing differently? The neighbors across the fence from these neighbors, these landowners that are saying no, are you looking at negotiating with them and going a different route?
Yes.
So in Shelby County, the landowners that have said no, that are on the eminent domain list, you are going across the fence and talking to them actively.
We are looking at as many options as we can.
So
That's
not saying yes, you're actively doing that.
Yes, right. Yes, we're actively doing that. We're also going out with different easements. We're adding additional protections. We're doing that is one of the things we are doing.
You should state that in your case that you're looking at changing the route then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
What additional protections? Sorry, you just mentioned you're going out with additional protections. What are those?
Within the community benefits agreement, we talk about requirements with agricultural plans. We talk about water protection. We talk about use of unions. Wow, could not think of the word. Utilizing unions to make sure we're using Iowa familiar labor, and various other things that are built into that plan that we built out.
I have one more. There is a leak in Summit, Mississippi. It's been going on since last week, and it's being monitored. But if there was a leak in Shelby County, how long would it take for someone to get here to take care of that, and where would they be coming from?
Yeah, so a couple things with that. If there is ever a notice where we start to either lose pressure or lose temperature on the system, a small minor one, I'm not familiar. If it's, I'm assuming it's minor if they're just monitoring it. If in a smaller situation, we would send someone out, and in other situations, we would immediately shut the system down. It has the capability to shut down remotely.
Well, you can't shut it down like that with that amount going through it, through the pipe, and under that pressure that it's under. I mean, shutting it down like that would cause
Rupture.
a real issue behind it.
Yeah, no, the valves are calculated to shut down, 8-inch valves shut down in about 20 to 30 seconds, I don't know the exact time. We don't have to worry about water hammer the way, say, an oil pipeline would, because it's a compressible liquid-like. It has the ability to recoil a little bit better than you would say an oil pipeline. Doesn't mean we slam it shut, just can shut quicker than a standard pipeline. And that is all calculated and utilized, and in an 8-inch valve closes in about 20 to 30 seconds. We definitely still review concerns on what people commonly know as water hammer. But if we need to send responders out, well, in all situations we would send responders out. Where they live exactly is to be determined, but there's regulation on how fast. Usually the regulation is built out to respond to an emergency 1 call. So if something happens unrelated to your pipeline but close by, and you need everyone in the area to clear it so you can start digging. It's called an emergency 1 call. You have 2 hours to get in your car, get there, take the time and clear it. That's regulation. So that would be the longest, but we are going to build out operators across the entire system to have a fast response time. Important to know, closest to you guys, I guess, would be the Denison, that Anderson's plant, where we'll have equipment and staffing. And then obviously we'll work with emergency managers, who are generally going to be the first person on scene to make sure they're prepared until our team gets there.
Go ahead. Another question. So your shut-off valves, if I remember correctly, are going to be 20 miles apart, correct?
That's maximum federal spacing, and then
20 miles. So if you have a leak, what happens with that under pressure CO2, 20 miles of it? How much are you releasing into the atmosphere, and what is the danger zone? Time frame, danger zone for emptying that pipeline, 20 miles of hazardous CO2, which would go a long ways. Denison wouldn't even get to this area in, 30 minutes or longer, probably 45.
Depends on the
Plus their
weather.
vehicles won't run. So 20 miles of hazardous CO2, 2,000 PSI. What's your plume model?
I can't. That's an impossible question to answer because it's going to be really dependent on type of release, what the weather is like that day, various situations like that. But we are working. I believe we've talked with supervisors in this county, working with the emergency managers, all first responders, on going into what is a very long conversation on dispersion modeling. But in those situations, if there is a release, right, there's going to be a location of release. We're going to shut down the valves on both sides, and then there will be controlled releases where in situations we can get controlled releases that are being monitored in other areas to help expedite the release and lower the pressures. So there's a process in place, and we are actively in conversations with various first responders and elected officials walking through what those look like.
Okay, but transparency to a landowner. I want to know what is my risk level with a rupture in a pipe or a leak, 20 miles of high pressure over 2,000 PSI CO2. What is my risk, full transparency, as a landowner? I want to know.
Happy, I mean, it's a long conversation. Happy to sit down and talk with you and a lot of the details and, we'll walk through what it looks like in a couple different situations. But CO2, we're putting safety first. Even if you don't think we do, we put safety first. We care about it. We're putting in top-notch equipment, but at the end of the day, we're taking the safety very seriously. It's incredibly important to us, but CO2 pipelines, they have a good, pipelines in general, they have a good record. When what goes in comes out at the end. So at the end of the day, there's only ever been one injury related to CO2 pipelines as recorded by OSHA. We're taking it seriously. I'm happy to have a longer conversation with you. That would.
You're not being transparent to me as a landowner. You're not answering my question. Give me worst case scenario. You said there's a lot of different variants. What's the worst case scenario? How many people will die?
There has never been a fatality related to
How
CO2.
many people could potentially die with a 20-mile release of CO2?
Look, I'm
Worst-
happy to
worst case
talk
scenario.
in real science and sit down and have a conversation with you on this, but there has never been a fatality related to CO2.
I think in the interest of time, we're gonna wrap up comments, unless there's somebody who hasn't spoken yet who would like to. And Bryce, I don't see anybody else, so I would, since I'm here, I'll thank Kylie for coming this morning and answering questions, and invite those who would like more questions and answer time to go to Boulder's Conference Center in Denison on November 10th, and that's at 5 o'clock, and certainly are welcome to go there. One more question, yes, Jarvis.
Just for first responders, are you gonna compensate them in a way that, because you're putting them in a line to be able to protect this pipeline, you know, when is emergency and stuff like that? Are you guys thinking about compensating them in a yearly basis, you know, because our fire department, EMS, the ambulance, and all those people?
So we will have a grant program for the emergency manager for the first responders in each county. But in any training, any equipment, yes, we will handle that financially.
Yeah, but grant is not guaranteed. You submit a grant and not getting compensated for it.
We do call it a grant. The first year, everyone does get it. The first year, we haven't built out what it looks like after that. But it is guaranteed the first year, and then it will become a standard grant program is my best guess. But in terms of any equipment or any training, that will be handled financially by Summit.
Yeah, because they're gonna use their fire trucks, they use ambulance and stuff like that to respond to those, I mean, which is the cost of the city and the county. So if there is a compensating plan in place to make sure the training stays on top, the vehicle being repaired or whatever it is at that time, at least something to the county, because they are the ones who are gonna be responding if there's an emergency.
So in the situation of a response, a required response, there'll be a compensation situation, right? If resources are used. But in terms of the annual year to year, the compensation will be training and upkeep of equipment and make sure your equipment is capable.
So when you talk about equipment, are you talking about like the fire trucks and everything else that's gonna be utilized, or what equipment?
I'm not the first responder on our team. I'm the engineer, but the equipment will be discussed specifically with your emergency manager and the needs that are there. A big one being the correct monitors and other equipment needed.
So my recommendation for you, probably to schedule some time to sit down and talk to the fire department and EMS and EMA and come up with a plan that you can share with them, because they're the ones who will be taking care of the pipeline just in case of emergency. So just my recommendation.
Yeah, we're happy to do that. Our Jeremy, who's our new representative, is starting. I think he's right now in the learning process, and then he's putting together a team, hoping to build out a program using different emergency managers across the state to build out a program that we then will roll out to each of the counties.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kylie, for your update. We're going to move on to Steve Kenkel, Pipeline Liaison.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Good.
I do have to say one thing about what I just heard here. The transparency here sucks. And I will give an example, then I'm going to move on. But I attended with Alex emergency plan, emergency meeting with EMA on the CO2 pipelines. It was in March of '24. And I asked specifically for an example, like they talked about a worst case scenario, because I'm concerned about Earling. And they said they couldn't give it to me that day, but I would get it in the future.
Then I'll bet you haven't got it yet.
This is almost November of '25. And I've sent them probably 4 emails asking for it. And then when we had, shortly after you got on, we had another meeting. And you recall, we had a meeting afterwards and I asked about going over that and I was told I'm not gonna get that. So when they tell you that you're gonna get worst case scenarios for an incident, that's not true.
You'll get it when it happens.
So, we spent a lot of time on the CO2s. I sent you guys an update of a meeting I attended the 10th of October on all the different federal motions to the IUC that Summit has done. Do you have any questions on that?
Any movement on it? Any decisions made anywhere along the way?
No decisions. We're waiting for 3 things. There was an amendment to the permit, which Kylie talked about. There was a remand to ignore our judicial review. There's consolidation of phase 1 and 2. Summit now wants to consolidate. In '24, they didn't want to consolidate, so I don't know where everything is at. So the judge has a lot of decisions to make. We do not expect anything before November 1st, so I'm gonna say between November 1st and the 15th, we're probably gonna get some direction. So there's really no direction until that comes out, and that's about the only thing I really have. I mean, Summit has no definite sequester site. They have no definite plan, as you heard, whether they're gonna go through South Dakota, Nebraska. All they have is Iowa with no place to go. So, any questions? Okay.
I got a lot to say, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of updates here.
Okay.
Definite.
Okay.
So, more confusion.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. We will move on to Chris Frederickson with the Shelby County Secondary Road Report.
Hey, Chris.
Good morning.
Morning.
Keep it short this morning again. First thing I do have a right-of-way permit for Farmers Mutual Telephone Company. What they'd like to do is just provide a new service that looks like to a cell tower on F16 west of M16. And I have no issue with it. I have their insurance and everything else to go with it, so should be pretty straightforward. Unless you have any questions, I would.
If it's acceptable to you, I'd make a motion to accept.
Motion from Charlie,
I'll second.
second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion approved.
Bryce, I'll get you to sign it when you're back sometime.
Okay. Yep.
Just a few other quick things. I guess the M16 pavement project is the big one. As of Sunday late afternoon, everything south of Highway 44 to Shelby has been paved out. So both lifts are on that. None of the shouldering has been done as of yet on any of the projects, so please, anybody driving out there, do so with caution. There is areas with significant drop-offs as well as the intersections. The approach has changed a little bit, and we are going out as a county ahead to try and improve those, just to get everybody in and out and be able to use it while it's still under construction. Again, no lines will be painted either until the shoulders are on, so just everybody pay attention and be respectful, and again, thank you everybody for being cooperative during this time. I do appreciate it. So yesterday we did start up on the corner of F32 and M16 and started to head south with the intermediate lift. They made it almost to the bridge, so that's almost 3 3/4 miles. They were going to pave out the rest of that lane this morning, then back up to 32 and start again. So the idea is all of that portion of M16 from the bridge to F32 will be complete. Then they will start to the south of the bridge and do both lifts down there. So they are progressing Ideally, they're hoping all the asphalt will be on by the end of this weekend. Just depends on the weather and anything else, so we'll see how it goes. Again, everything still needs to be shouldered. That will be a separate company that's under the contract. It sounds like they are very speedy when they get here, so it should go along quite rapidly. The lines will be marked after that. The only other thing in the contract is they are putting on guardrail on that bridge between F-32 and Highway 44. That also shouldn't take a real long time, but they do need to do some modification to the actual ends of the bridge itself to attach the guardrail to. And it sounds like that could possibly start next week. So we'll still see good movement up there and hopefully get through and get done and back together and open up. So otherwise, it's been business as usual. We're still trying to rock spots, blade, still doing ditching. We are hauling some dirt to the south end of the M16 project. There was a spot where the shoulders were very narrow. They kept sliding off, so we're trying to build that up and alleviate that problem before it gets shouldered. So, been busy, but that's okay.
You broke out the sweatshirts.
I did. It's very chilly out there, and it doesn't. This week doesn't sound too bad. After that, it sounds like it could get a little more raw. So, we'll see.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Chris. Jay Ring, Weed Commissioner report.
You skipped Todd.
Oh, I did?
Todd,
Sorry.
Todd is here.
Todd Deline, we'll take you first.
Alrighty. Good morning.
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 Just a few quick updates, starting with a reminder that Saturday, starting at 9:30 downtown, is Harvest Fest. So we'll have a dollar movie at the theater. We will have kids' events and games. We'll have, weather permitting, Hanson House will bring down one of their trolleys or trains to take people around. We'll have a petting zoo, spooky story time, just a lot of things going on. Again, kicks off at 9:30 and then we'll run till 1:30 when we have the candy walk along the square. So hope to see a good turnout. I think we ordered about 500 hot dogs and I'd like to get rid of all of them.
I have excited grandkids. So.
Good, good.
Yeah.
MERTU Medical Center's quick care clinic hours are now Saturdays 8 to 4 and Sundays 11 to 3. You can make an appointment by calling 755-4516. Walk-in care is available, but the last walk-in must arrive 30 minutes before closing. We do have an ambassador visit on October 31st at 10 a.m. This is going to be with Tammy Kabza. She's from Legal Shield and ID Shield. And we'll be holding it out at our conference room because, she doesn't have like a brick and mortar location. So again, that'll be October 31st at 10. There still are 2 dates left with the influenza clinics from MERTU here in Harlan. So you can give them a call at 755-4308 or visit ShelbyCountyClinics.com to set up an appointment. We have a 10-hour OSHA construction class coming up in Spanish on the 24th from 2 to 6 and Saturday, October 25th from 9 to 4 at Iowa Western Community College. The cost is $210 and you can just give a call out there to register. One of the great fundraisers that we have every year, Harlan Mason's lunch fundraiser, Sunday, October 26th from 11 to 1. They'll be serving probably some of the best chicken and noodles over mashed potatoes that exist in the county. Dine in or drive through, cost is $10 per meal. And then finally, Monday, November 10th, the Harlan Lions Club invites the community to First Baptist Church from 5 to 6:30 for a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. They'll be serving roast beef, mashed potatoes and gravy, vegetables and dessert. Everyone's welcome. It's free to all, but you do need to RSVP by Sunday, November 2nd, so they know how much food to prepare. And that number is 579-6504. So we got some good fundraisers going on, got some fun events going on. And hopefully the weather will hold out for everything, so, yeah. All right.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you, Todd. All right, now Jay Reed, Weed Commissioner report.
Should see the look he gave you the first time you got up and had to sit back down. Man, oh man.
I'm sure I'll hear from him.
Yeah.
Let's see, you guys need this.
Sounds like a lot of trees.
Yeah, I don't know who gets that or. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. Not a lot's changed since the previous year. I guess the cost was down a little bit. We used a lot of the same chemicals, so that helped. A little extra to get them used up. I'll be discussing a new plan for maybe some different chemicals for next year, I guess. I've written down that 25 is a really good year for weeds, obviously. A lot of Canadian thistles. I took a lot of calls, some at which were at 10:45 at night. I wanted to mention that were text, actually. I just wanted to mention that I'm not going to respond to a text. So I got 2 phone numbers listed, an email. I mean, and I'll reply to them during the usual business hours. I wanted to get that out there, I guess. So I did notice a lot of growers or homeowners spraying a lot of noxious weed. That's good. And I ask when you're doing that we need to be able to identify what we're spraying. So I've seen a lot of spots where some plums and elderberry and wild rose and a lot of stuff that animals and wildlife rely on. So whoever's doing this, we need to make sure we identify what we're spraying. At that also, I seen a lot of decorative grasses. Like I have some examples, but they're being planted like in the right of way, in front of their mailboxes or out in a ditch. You know, in front of I want to make sure they know what they're putting out, like silvergrass, pampas grass, fountain grass, purple flame. You can buy them all online. I just suggest like replace it with like a native grass, like a big blue stem or some prairie drop seed, little blue. They're all native, and then actually some of them grasses that are being planted, they choke out everything around them. So eventually you're going to have a whole area of pampas grass that nothing else native to Iowa will grow, and then pretty soon it's blocking the intersections. So just want to make sure we put the right decorative stuff in what we're doing there. So I have mentioned that I'm working on a do not spray contract. There's some signs out in the county where people have come in and got them, and they say, well, we don't want you to spray. I said, okay. Well, in a lot of them areas, they're overrun with mulberries, and we got to make sure that if you're getting these signs, we want everybody to, keep the right of way clear so we can, especially close to intersections, but everywhere. But people aren't doing that, so I want to put something in place where you're going to have to sign a contract, and you're going to have to take care of it. I'm still working on that. There's a lot more to it than I thought. I talked to some other managers for the county, and it's not just a piece of cake to do, so it's going to take some doing. But I'll keep you updated on that. That's about all I have for the weed commissioner. And head report, got about 90% of the county sprayed. So then I spent a lot of time spraying the Canadian thistles in a lot of problematic areas, so that was good. Get some of them. There's actually getting the weed pressure down on a lot of them areas. So I had a guy helping me mow the shoulders. He had his hands full. The grass was just exploding with growth, and huge help to him, or huge thanks to him for helping me. I can do other stuff when he's doing that because it takes a lot of time. I had 2 guys in the spray truck. Their attendance was great, and their work ethic was great, and we got a lot done. They were great. Hoping to find a couple new better or good guys next year. I mean, the spray truck we bought with the grant, it worked great. Spent a lot of time last winter rewiring it and replumbing it, so I had very little downtime, so that was good. Received 40 acres of native seed through the IRBM. We put that in the ground, it's all in. And I just picked up 30 more acres. That'll be planted this spring, so we got to have that IRBM plan to be considered to even get it. So we did that. We updated it, I think, last year. So then there's no cost for the seed. It's all through the University of Northern Iowa, and that's a lot of savings there, and they're putting a lot of native back in the county, so it's good.
Where's that go? Does it go along the
The
road?
right of way, yep,
Okay, right
yep,
away.
a
You
lot
know,
of-
there was one plot or two plots that you were.
I did put some down off of F66, kind of by west of Rural Water there. We tore out a bunch of willow trees, and I replanted that area with natives, and I'll have to come back. It got some flooding, but I'll fix it back up this spring. But that's probably a couple acres there, so that was coming in good. So I finished up fall seeding probably 10 days ago. What I did put in the ground this fall is really taken off, so that's good. Still working on mowing the shoulders. I'll be done next week, by the end of next week. Try to do some spraying, but I think that's might be quitting here. It's gonna freeze here, so.
A little windy right now too.
Yeah.
Every day I think it's 15 mile an hour.
Yeah, it's chilly today too. I've
Makes your
listened.
job easier when it rains, doesn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah,
You don't have to redo as much.
yeah. The last 3 years have been awful.
Yeah, terrible.
Some trees. I've been working on a list for trees to take out this winter that are causing problems. Gonna go through the drills, the hydro seeder, and get everything ready for next season. I feel like we're making progress on what we're doing, and I think we're making a difference around the county. I mean, especially if you guys look around. I talked to I listened to the Pheasants Forever guy talk at a conference last year, and he actually mentioned Shelby County. So they drive the same route. I think I can't remember what, it's in the morning, but certain days at the same time, and they count the pheasant population per mile, and they want like 1, and we had like 3, I believe. So like 3 birds per mile, so that's just pheasants. I mean, everything's thriving. There's a ton of quail. I mean, you go out early in the morning, there's pheasants everywhere with the dew. So that's good. I think we're making a difference. So that's about all I got. Any questions for me, I guess?
Thank you very much.
Good job, Jake.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Jay. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, Geraldine with the recorder report.
Bryce?
Yeah.
1 second, please. Karen was saying we need to accept it, receive and file, is that what we need to do?
Oh, accept the weed commissioner? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we have a motion to accept the Shelby County Weed Commissioner report for 2025?
I'll make
Motion.
go ahead, Charlie.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion from Charlie, second from Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thanks, Karen.
Motion approved. Okay, Geraldine,
Good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
Okay, I have my quarterly report. I have a copy for you, Bryce. Karen, I guess can get that to you.
Just reach out and get it, will you, Bryce?
Yeah, sorry, can't see it. This quarter, we were down just a little bit from the same quarter last year, like about $1,000. Mainly, it had to do with real estate sales were down a little bit, so that means the revenue stamps were down, mortgages were down a little bit, but not a lot, so kind of staying steady there. That's pretty much, do you guys have any questions on that?
No.
Everything else looks like it's tracking right along.
Yep, everything else seems to be, I mean, it kind of stays steady, so that's good. And I will need a motion to approve that.
Motion approved.
I'll second.
Motion from Charlie, second from Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
All right, in other news, just a reminder to everybody to renew their recreational vehicles, their ATVs, ORVs. Snowmobile time probably is coming up, so those all have to be renewed by the end of the year. If not, it's a $5 penalty, but just try to get those renewed by the end of the year. As far as hunting, fur bearing hunting and trapping season begins November 1st. Youth license can be purchased up to January 10th now. There used to be a very small period of time you could purchase a youth license, but that has changed. So you can purchase youth license up to January 10th. The landowner tenant tags are not season specific anymore. You can get your landowner tenant tag and you can use it in any season. You just have to use the proper method of take for those. As far as vitals, we have from 1984 forward where we can print anyone's birth certificate, no matter what county they were born in, if you were born 1984 or forward. They are now working on 1983, so that's supposed to be coming soon, which will be great because a lot of times if they go down to get their driver's license and they don't have their birth certificate, they can come to us. So now we'll have 1983 forward that we can print those birth certificates for them, no matter what county they were born in. Other than that, we are continuing to go through our records from 1988 to 2000. We have the records only in our office, and they're, when they switched over programs, it kind of messed up everything. So we're going through each document for each year and trying to correct all of that so that we can send it on to Iowa Land Records so that we'll have all the documents online somewhere. So that's about it.
Thanks, Gerald.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much, Gerald.
You're welcome.
Any department heads out there want to give a report?
Not a stampede. Oh, here comes one.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah.
Okay.
EMS.
Hey Bryce, Kenny,
Morning.
Shelby County EMS. So just gonna let you guys know we got the new ambulance in service. Ran a couple calls with it over the last couple of days, so the crew's pretty excited about that.
Saw that on the claims report.
Yeah, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Good job on that.
Yeah, it looks really nice. They're excited for it, and they it was within kind of what I was expecting cost-wise. So actually less than what I thought it would cost. But a Type 1 truck with 4-wheel drive and everything like that. So I'm secured that. I did learn a couple of things that I think next one we'll wait till the end of the fiscal year to do it, just for planning, especially with the government shutdown. All of our current claims are being held, so we don't lose out on some of that, the add-on fees and stuff like that. So right now, just trying to plan on trying to be more prepared for if this doesn't kick back in right away, and how we can try to offset and mitigate some of these costs, and looking for additional revenue streams, which I kind of emailed you guys about looking for extra work, helping our neighbors out a little bit too. So. Otherwise, we've ran 380 calls in the first quarter of this fiscal year, which, if that continues, will be a pretty significant year of call volume for us too. So we got all of our paramedic positions are fully staffed now. We have 2 full-time EMT positions open yet, but we're kind of filling that with PRN part-time staff. So otherwise, things are looking up moving forward. We've got a lot of grant money secured so far this year to help offset some expenses too. So. Working away.
Deal.
It's great.
All right. Thank Kenny, you're doing a great job. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else?
Don't see anybody,
Yes,
Bryce.
Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Mike, you have a report?
Short one. I attended the Panama City Council meeting on October 7th, and they invited me over there for that. And I just provided them some updates on the CO2 pipeline fight, the ambulance commission and jail improvement options coming up that we're going to be looking at. Their council informed me of their new housing development on the west edge of town, and it's they've got lots for sale right now if you're interested in taking a look at those. And they're starting to research grants for future water tower replacement in Panama. So a couple big things going on there. October 8th, I attended Shelby County Wellness Alliance. Discussed healthy food choices in the schools and a possible program for students to grow and consume vegetables. So it should be a student-led initiative there. And also the murals have been refreshed and added to Harlan's downtown intersections. Again, another student-led project. And they're putting in a regular maintenance and additional murals plan in place. And if anybody's interested in joining the Wellness Alliance, they can contact Katie Sandquist at Virtue Medical Center Behavioral Health. And I would just like to personally give a thank you out to the county employees for the card and messages following my mother's passing about a month ago. So thank you for those notes. And that's it for me.
I got a West Central meeting tonight and SWPCO meeting Thursday. That's about it for this week.
Okay. I just want to remind the county employees who are getting the county health insurance to make sure they get their wellness assignments done so that the county gets our wellness discount on our health insurance. So it doesn't take much to do it, you just have to get it done. And also, we had a hotel motel tax grant meeting last week, and we gave away several grants, and these grants basically cover advertising for any nonprofits that are having programs in the county, like plays and things like that. Make sure you get your grant applications in for the January review session if you have any. So just want to get a reminder on that. And that's all I have. So anything further? If not, we will adjourn this meeting.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a safe trip home.
You bet.